Hello, my name is Ramzi Katan. I'm a Lebanese American 14-year-old boy who goes to the American International School in Riyadh. In Azar, we were assigned an 8th grade science project for humans and environment. The topic I've chosen for this project was not easy to think of at all. Nanotechnology is what I concluded to after days of thinking. Nanotechnology is a type of technology that is done at a nanoscale level, including the manipulation of individual atoms and molecules. I find this topic very interesting due to the thought of a science based around things smaller than my own blood cells. Nanotechnology is usually made at the scale of nanometers. Grasping how small a nanometer is can be very difficult. So here is a quote by Sir Kenneth Robinson, an English author, speaker, and international advisor. He said, quote, I asked a professor of nanotechnology what they used to measure the unthinkable small distances of nanospace. He said it was the nanometer. This didn't help me very much. A nanometer is a billionth of a meter. I understood the idea, but couldn't visualize what it meant. I said, what is it roughly? He thought for a moment and said, a nanometer is roughly the distance that a man's beard grows in 1 second. Now that I understand a little more about nanotechnology, let's get into the rest of the project. The history and idea of nanoscience began in 1959, when physicist Richard Feynman addressed it in his talk named, quote, There's plenty of room at the bottom. This was long before the term nanotechnology was even used. The word nanotechnology was first used in a paper by Norio Taniguchi, a Japanese professor in the Tokyo University of Science, in 1974. In 1985, buckyballs were first discovered. Funny name, right? Buckyballs are hollow, spherical molecules made of carbon atoms linked to 3 other carbon atoms by covalent bonds. They were one of the first nanoparticles ever discovered. They were discovered by a trio of researchers working out of Rice University. Their names were Richard Smalley, Harry Kroto, and Robert Curl. In 1989, the IBM logo was spelled using individual atoms at the nanoscale, a huge step forward in the manipulation of individual atoms. In 1997, the first ever nanotech company was founded. The company was named Xevex. It was founded by James R. Von Eyre II, and its headquarters is located in Richardson, Texas. In 2010, a group of researchers announced they had successfully operated the first assembly line populated by nanobots. The most interesting milestone, in my opinion, is the creation of the world's smallest movie, created by IBM. This movie included the manipulation of over 5,000 carbon atoms to create a boy named Adam. Isn't that ironic? It tells a story about how Adam falls in love with an atom as they play and dance together. Let's talk about the global facts with nanotechnology. Here we can use 2 of the graphs I created which show the significance of nanotechnologies in countries, all based on how much they spend. As you can tell, one country spends the most, and it's the USA. The USA is no doubt the king of nanotechnology. They have been leading the research for a long time now. Maybe it's because of the $3 billion they pour into the science. After the USA is Russia. They spend the next highest amount, which is $1.8 billion. After Russia is China. In China's strive to become the biggest economy in the world, China poured a huge amount of time and money into the branch of technology, around $1.3 billion. Now that's a lot of money. 2 countries giving $850 million to nanotech are Japan and Germany. Japan, who some like to say is the home of technology, have been trying all it can to unlock the secrets of the tiny molecules. Germany, who dominate in everything, like the World Cup last year, have not stopped there, being one of the most dominant countries and one of the most important countries in the research of nanotechnology. These are just the top 5 countries in the research of nanotechnology out of the 10 I've chosen to show. I've chosen these 5 due to how much money they spent on nanotechnology, which show how much they care about the science. There is still South Korea, France, United Kingdom, Taiwan, and India, who also pour a lot of money into the technology. Let's talk about how nanotechnology can affect humans. Nanotechnology is really a futuristic idea. It hasn't been used in that many ways today. But it is very sought out to be huge in the future. In the future, it is meant to help a lot of things. That being said, let's talk about nanomedicine. Nanomedicine is the application of nanotechnologies in a medical way. Nanomedicine is said to be able to help humans by doing things like improving drug delivery systems, improving gene delivery systems and gene therapy, help in biological detection of disease-causing organisms and diagnosis, the detection of proteins, the monitoring of the disease progression, probing of DNA structure, help in MRI studies, increased help in pharmacokinetic studies, increased help in therapeutics, and help in biomedical imaging, and help in visualizing tumors more accurately, with respect not only to the margins or the outside, but also to the parts of the tumor that is active and the parts that are not active. Nanotechnology has already been predicted to do amazing things, including the early diagnostic and treatment of cancer. One approach of this application is the use of gold nanoparticles to bond with cancer cells or cells that could contain cancer. When light is shined from a device inserted into an endoscope onto the cells stand out from the other cells and can be removed, stopping the growth of cancer. This approach is hoped to begin clinical trials at the beginning of next year. Another hope for nanotechnology is for it to fix humans. Ways it can do this is by making nanobots that act like white cells. They spread throughout your blood looking for and eliminating unwanted pathogens, including bacteria, viruses, or fungi in the bloodstream. Another way of fixing humans is replacing diseased cells with new cells. This process is called chromosome replacement. In this process, a nanobot controlled by a physician tracks diseased cells, and the nanobots remove all bad chromosomes. All the things I've just said have been the predicted benefits, or in other words, the pros of nanotechnology on humans. Now let's talk about the cons of nanotechnology on humans. Although nanotechnology is meant to help humans, it can also hurt the well-being of humans. For example, nanotechnology and other technologies are leading to the loss of human-operated jobs, meaning people are losing their jobs due to technology taking over. According to Eric Brynjolfsson, a professor at the MIT Sloan School of Management, the usage of increasingly superior technology is destroying jobs much faster than they are creating them. Let's talk about the toxicity of nanotech on humans. A study on toxicity of nanoparticles performed on rats showed that when nanoparticles were exposed to the environment the rat lived in, nanoparticles began to pile up in the rat's nasal cavities, lungs, and its brain. Another experiment done using fish and buckyballs showed that the buckyballs gave the fish brain damage. Vivian Howard, toxicologist at the University of Liverpool, warns that the size of nanoparticles could make them very toxic. There have been many studies testing the toxicity of nanotechnologies, which could be deadly or hurtful towards humans. Many physicians say a full hazard assessment on nanotechnologies is needed before global manufacturing is licensed. Although it has not been used in this way, many officials are worried that nanotechnology in the future could lead to high-tech terrorist attacks by many different terror organizations or individuals. Let's talk about nanotechnology affecting our environment. There are many different ways nanotech can help the earth and the environment. I only have time to talk about a couple of them though. A huge challenge in the world of all technologies and all things and sciences is the attempt to make any water drinkable. You and I may have water at our disposal. Clean water is no problem for us. But in the rest of the world, 1 in every 6 people do not have access to clean water. Jeffrey C. Grossman, MIT Associate Professor of Power Engineering, and 2 of his graduate students, David Kohan Tanuki and Shreya Dave, are developing what is known to be, I quote, one of the top 5 surprising scientific milestones of 2012, according to the Institute.org. The trio have developed a filtration material made of a sheet of nanoporous graphene. Cohen Tyree commented on his filtration system and said, I quote, "It's essentially a single layer of carbon atoms shaped like a honeycomb. Produced with holes in it, graphene is a much thinner, more porous, and effective membrane than the polymers generally used for filtering water. It's extremely strong and has very interesting physical properties, but is only now being looked at for water applications. Also, nanotechnology is said to help water in another way, but not for drinking. Researchers from MIT say they have found a method of recovering spilled oil using magnets, which could save oil companies lots of money in cleanup. MIT researchers say they can use water-repellent nanoparticles that contain iron to magnetically separate water and oil. Nanoparticles can then be removed for the reuse of the oil. Nanotechnology has a lot of application about helping the environment. Let's talk about one way nanotechnology can hurt the environment. Nanopollution is the pollution generated by nanodevices or pollution created in the process of manufacturing nanodevices. This is one of the biggest concerns of nanotechnology in the environment. There will be many debates and research to come on this topic before nanotech can be fully used. Imagine a world where little tiny mechanisms help our environment and us. Imagine your mother going to a doctor for pain she's feeling, and she finds out it's cancer. But she's not worried, because she knows there's an effective way to remove it. It's like a cold now. Imagine if there was no more concerns about developing countries not having potable water. A single technology, a million fixes. Nanotech.